Good morning, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for your patience in my absence while I was dealing with COVID. The whole family got it, so that was fun. I'm still not 100% by any stretch. I'm only on day 8 since I came down with it. So, the name of the game for this week is catching up, but balancing that with not relapsing. So again, thank you so much for all the well wishes and for your patience while I was laying in bed feeling miserable. Honestly, this is my second time with COVID, and both times I've been super, super lucky that it hasn't been really horrible. I mean, it's not fun by any stretch. And there's about 36 hours in there usually where I'm like, with the fever and the aches and all that, that just is miserable. But those 2 times compared to the 4 times in my life that I've had influenza, actual flu, they don't compare at all. I tend to be a person who gets flu really badly, so much so that every time I have it, I realize this is why people die. Now, I know plenty of people died from COVID. I'm not trying to minimize that. I'm just saying for me personally, my body deals better with COVID than with influenza. At least with COVID, I can get up and move around without literally blacking out. I'm usually able to eat when I have COVID, unlike with the flu. And flu takes me, actually with flu though, it's a shorter recovery time usually, which is weird. COVID's usually about 4 weeks for me to completely recover, where I can have a normal day without feeling bad in the evening. So knowing that, I have a lot of stuff to do. I'm really far behind, but I'm not going to push it because I know from experience that if I push it too hard, then I'm down for another 4 or 5 days, and then I've lost even more time. So I'm going to try to be smart. Today we are taking care of just some very simple things. Last Monday, today is Monday. So last Monday, Mike and I came out here and we ran the 1,000-foot mainline tubing from here at the goat shed to the property. And we didn't stay super late because I had bouquets to build and all that kind of stuff. But it was that evening that literally all of a sudden out of nowhere, I was like, oh, I feel like I've just snorted up a pool full of water. Like I had burnt, it was just crazy. And then the next morning I was sick. So, all I did the next morning was come out super early because I knew it was going to get worse, and pull the rest of the mainline tubing around the beehive area, because that's where the original one goes, not in front of the hives, but behind them, around a tree. And I knew that the bees would still be asleep because it was like 6 a.m. So I did that on Tuesday, and I haven't been out here since. Too sick to come out. So what I need to do today, I got the parts that I need to completely finish hooking it up. So this part here, I'll show you where it goes. This is what I need on this end up here by the spigot. And then down at the other end, I just need to make some splicing, and then we'll have 2 zones and we should be good to go. So let me show you what I need to do up here. It's quick and easy. Maybe the goat boys will come out. There's 3 of them. Maybe they'll come out and say hi since we're near their enclosure. And then we'll head down to the farm. I'm a little anxious because the last time I had COVID, when I came back after a week, deer had destroyed the entire farm. This is at the old location. That was because we were in the process of putting up a deer fence when I got sick. So hopefully everything is still here and I haven't had more gopher explosion. But we'll see. Okie dokie. So here's the setup. Ideally, this spigot would be facing the other direction because the farm is that way. But this was already here. So we've got the spigot, and then here's the timer. Down from the timer is filter. And then this is the splitter. This is completely mechanical. There's no batteries required. In here is a valve, and every time the timer goes off and this opens and pulls water down, this valve switches sides. So you can have 2 zones on here, and every time the timer goes off, it'll switch to the other side. One thing that's taken me a while to get used to is this arrow actually points to the next opening. So the one that's currently running, it's not really right now, but is normally running, is this one. And then the next time the valve opens, it will run this one. So we're doing okay that the water's off so that this wouldn't happen. But I will now attach the mainline tubing, which as you can see is right here. I've weighted it down over there because we wanted to make sure we needed both of us to run it out. So I couldn't stand here and hold it. So I needed a part. This is the part because you can see I can't just attach mainline tubing to this. I might have to come back in here and put plumber's tape on here, but we'll see. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is attach this to the mainline tubing first, because this tubing is going to be kind of cold, very cold, because it's in the shade and it's a cold day. So it might be harder to get on. Okay, so I've got this attached to the mainline tubing. Hopefully it's on there good enough. It was hard because it's cold. It's going to make it tough. I don't want to crimp the line. Okay, here we go. And then I just seal it down. Okay. So now I have 2 lines. Use my phone to update the timer so that it goes off every single day as opposed to just every other day. This is a Bluetooth timer, but of course I have to be standing next to it for it to work because down a quarter mile at the farm, that's not going to work. So I'm going to grab my phone, reset that real quick, and then turn the water back on. Nothing should happen down at the farm because it's not running right now. And I don't even think I'm going to try to test it today. We've had over an inch of rain in the last couple days. And so there's plenty of water out there right now. And I don't have the energy to be running back and forth to check and see. So I might wait a day or two till I'm feeling better, come out here and make sure that it's run. All right, so let me go grab my phone. I'm gonna get this timer updated and then we'll head down to the farm. If you look down there, you can maybe see 2 lines. There's 2 lines of mainline tubing here. So this bottom one was already here. This is the one we installed way back when we started the farm. And then this is the new one, which I need to put below this. So on Tuesday, when I came out, I had to make sure I got it behind this tree and ran it along here so that I could then put it under the fence. And I did not want to do that while the bees were awake. So you can see as soon as the sun hits the hives, they wake up. Now these bees seem to not like us moving around up here. So I've decided when I have to do, anything in their vicinity that might upset them, I'll wait and do it either at dusk or in the early morning hours before they're awake. My mentor gave me a really awesome, which I need to buy more of, but veil that goes down over your shoulders. So mostly I just want to protect my face and my hair because that's where the problem comes in, right? So normally out in the farm, everything else is fine. So speaking of that, let's go look. Definitely need to string trim. Oh, this is just awful. But you can see, the stock is done. It's been done for a while. I've just left it in here because I want living things in the soil when there's, I can flip this soon when I have seedlings ready to go in. I did weed this bed before I got sick. You can see the straw flower, extremely tall stems, which is so fantastic. I love using it like this. This bed got weeded before I got sick, so it's looking great. I don't think I see any fresh gopher holes, which is good. Scabiosa looking just fine. You can tell the 2 different varieties here. Look how short this one is compared to this one. There's some extra status that I planted from seed and it stayed. That's good. So we've got more straw flower here. I think this is just weeds. I'll have to come back through. A few more status that sowed for me, and then our remaining few feverfews. Status here, this whole bed was status, but it is what it is. And they're starting to put on stems. These are kind of short, but the stems will get longer as the season goes on. Okay, this bed, just awful. I need to transplant sunflowers today, because look at these. These have been in these trays way too long. They're gonna go in the ground today. But I think also then I'm going to come up and try to weed out these beds. This is just so awful, but this is what happens when you're gone for a whole week and sick. This is Cynoglossum. I have more plugs of these coming with a special wedding collection that's coming. Thank God I bought that. When they came up for offer, I was like, I don't need that. I'll be fine. I've already started a lot of seeds. Well, since I've had major crop loss, I'm really glad because it's got, I think, 2 types of Cynoglossum, 2 types of Scabiosa, Tweedia, and something else. So great filler flowers because that is my lack right now is filler flowers. Okay, this is Clarkia. Look how gorgeous that is. Those stems, I can't wait. I haven't grown Clarkia before. It's actually a California native, not this variety, of course. But yeah, it's going to be really pretty. But again, I have to get in here. These weeds just choke out and outcompete. This is all grass. So this is snapdragons, and you can see some of them are getting close. This I had expected to be, usually my snapdragon bed is really dense and I have tons of, I have like 3 or 4 usually harvests out of it, but that probably won't happen this year since so many of them got eaten. But they are getting close, which is good because like I said, I am worried about having enough flowers to cut. These guys are really close. Okay, this bed was all ranunculus and there's only a few that survived. But I do, again, need to get in here and weed. I have been harvesting a lot of ranunculus. Thank God, because those are my focal flowers right now. And they've been doing good. Now look, this looks like it might be new activity. So I need to come in here and reset some traps. Yeah, that feels very fresh. All right, so Gopher Trap's gonna have to go back in action. And I'll just start, yeah, see that's new. So I'll just start moving them around again every 24 hours. Woo, yeah, there's new activity in here for sure. Okay, well, the traps are out here. I'll get those set today. Yeah, I just wanted to do a walkthrough here and see how bad it is. So I'm growing really good grass. Aren't you guys impressed how good this grass is? Oh, geez. Yeah, so I don't even know how long I'll let these ranunculus beds go. I mean, they're still producing, obviously, and I still have a couple weeks on them, but they're just not going to do what they normally do in terms of production. Okay, so that mess. Over here, this bed is still empty. This bed, we have Agrostemma, which is looking good. I mean, we've got some holes in here that obviously it didn't take. The seedlings were either too small or they got eaten or something. This is still the Lisianthus, these 2 beds. Now, they're looking a little yellow to me. I think these guys need fertilizing. So probably tomorrow I'll come through with a backpack sprayer and fish emulsion and give these guys a good soaking. But I am comforted that there's hardly any weeds in these holes, which means tarping this area was really good. Most of the Lisianthus are still here. There's a few holes, but that's all right. So again, Agrostemma, yeah, some holes there. Craspedia, Sweet Annie, which looks great. That's all I'll need for the entire season. This stuff is so prolific. A couple of Apple of Peru survived, only 2, but that's okay because they get huge. And then Cosmos that I put in right before I got sick. And I'm not sure what those 2 are. Huh. Okay. Looks like more Craspedia. And I think those are Eryngium. You know, I just had a bunch of seedlings that needed to go somewhere and I wasn't worried about it. I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to pop them in the ground. Still plenty of space here. And this, like I said, this entire row here is still empty, which is good. I have plans for it. But very happy to see all of the Lisianthus are still looking good. And pretty much every one of them is still in the holes. So with the ranunculus, this is a different variety down here. I think this is Tecolote, maybe Sunset. I have been harvesting on these, and I weeded this entire bed before I got sick. And it was interesting. These guys have pretty strong, sturdy stems. There wasn't as much grass up in this area, but down here with all the pink ones, look at all of them. which is great because I need to harvest these tomorrow for my CSA. But you can see so many of them fell over because the grass was so thick that it was acting as a support for these flowers, because look how thin their stems are. Usually their stems are much thicker. So because I didn't get in here soon enough, yes, they got competed out, but also they just lost their ability to hold themselves up. So here's new gopher activity. Yeah, so time to go grab the gopher traps and get those set up. But the other thing I need to do to complete the irrigation system thing here, you can see both tubes are running down here, right? The original one runs right here, and then it tees off here, comes right around here, and then the headers are buried in all this grass to feed these beds. There's another T intersection here, goes through here, and these headers are here to feed all of those beds. So what I'm going to do is end the system for these beds right here. I'm just going to cut that off and seal it. So that will be pressurized for this part of the farm. And it'll feed that bed too once I run some drip to it. Then I will take the new line, which is here all curled up, and I will attach it here, and that will pressurize and feed everything down there. That should be just fine. That should work out once the system is pressurized. Now, when we first turned it on, when we first set this up and turned it on, Aiden stayed down here and we stayed up at the pump and we timed it. How long is it going to take for water to get from there to here? And it was almost 7 minutes. But because this is a closed system, once it got pressurized, it stayed that way. So once it's pressurized, when the timer gets off over there, it only takes about 30 seconds for the water to reach here and start pumping, because it's already still in the system, which is good. Okay, let me make this adjustment really quick so I can mark that off the list. And then, I'm still out of breath. We'll go check out down there, see how things are going. I have one line I need to run on the sunflower bed, and then we'll transplant some sunflowers. This is one of those things where I'm struggling because I feel like there's so much to do, and this is where I have to pull myself back in and try not to overdo it. So I'll fix this. We'll take care of the sunflowers. Well, actually, I'll fix this, set the traps for the gophers, then we'll do the sunflowers. And then after that, if I still feel like I have some energy, maybe we'll do some weeding. Otherwise, they can survive one more day without being weeded. All right, let me go grab my tools and get this part set up. Okay, back out at this back end of the property. I think these are the eastern beds. Let's take a look at the lily bed. Dylan and I did this right before he left, before I got sick. They need more soil. So they're buried almost to the bottom here. So they're down about 6 inches at this point, which is good, but they need more. So I need to go get, there's still some compost up there. I'm not ready to move that yet. Maybe I can come out super early tomorrow morning when I have a little bit more energy and the bees are not active, but I need to fill in this as high as it can go, but they're looking good and we're gonna have great lilies. All the direct sown stuff, I have not checked on in quite some time. I don't have the energy to do that today. We can do that another time. They're fine in there for now. They have irrigation and it's been raining. Okay, these beds, empty right now. You can see where there's cardoons coming up. I need to get those out of there, obviously. That far bed is going to be our sunflower bed. Now, it's got some grass in it. I'm not worried too much about the grass because sunflowers, as we've talked about, are allelopathic, and they tend to fight off weeds pretty well. Not completely, but pretty well. So this bed, it's got partially covered here a little bit by this cloth, which is only supposed to be to the edge. Anyway, this bed is going to be sunflowers, just 2 rows, but planted very closely together, about 4 inches apart, to give me nice big, nice size flower heads, but also good stems. So I still have 1 line of tape I need to run off of here. Yeah, I need to go get a valve, but I need to run 1 more line off of here because 1 drip tape line in the summertime is not going to be enough. So 2 other things that need to happen this week. I need to open 2 dahlia beds. I'm going to do one on the hillside there next to where the pollinator patch is and go down the fence line because I'm only going to do 1 row that way. And then the other is going to be near the sweet pea bed. I think it'll be 2 rows that's under this tarp, which is great because a lot of that stuff under there has died off now. So that's where the other bed will go. So that's a priority in addition to the weeding. And then I would like to lay out the footprint for the high tunnel so that I can organize this big mess and put away the materials that I don't need and get the landscape fabric laid out for the footprint and all that kind of stuff so that it can start being more functional here. Even if I don't get around to building that for another couple of weeks, I want the footprint there. The landscape fabric will kill off everything underneath. It'll be a good platform for the high tunnel itself, which is not going to be a growing space so much as it's going to be a staging space. I won't be starting seeds in there, most likely, because it won't be heated or anything, but it will be a place for me that has light in it for seedlings that I bring out here. That's not the shed. I can't leave them in there because it's dark and hot. And then if I leave them out on the table, they get beaten up by the sun and they dry out really quickly. So I want them to be in a place, this is a good spot because it's mostly shaded. Now people will say, why would you want a greenhouse in the shade? In hot places like California in the summertime, if you don't put your greenhouse in the shade, it's going to be over 112, 15, 18 degrees in there, Fahrenheit. Way too hot. It'll fry everything. So we actually enjoy having our greenhouses in the shade, especially if we're not growing in them in the wintertime. So that's why this is a good location for that. And it's one of the flatter spots on the property. All right, I'm going to go scout and set traps.
Late night, flickering lights, loud crowds on the street as I walk by. There's a fight, sirens drive by, someone singing about the heartaches of her life. Outside a bar, a woman is waiting for her man to end.
Okay, I'm feeling very happy right now. So I got all of the sunflower seedlings planted, and I direct sowed Sunflower Steve's Van Gogh mix up to here where the brick is. So I still have about 6 feet or so of this bed. And then I have other space for sunflowers. That's no problem. In fact, where the ranunculus are, I'm going to rotate sunflowers through there too. So I have plenty of space to keep starting. I like to do weekly sowings of sunflowers so that I have sunflowers all season long. The seedlings actually looked really good. I was shocked. I thought, I mean, they're all twisted, their stems and everything, but I thought they would be just solid clump of roots and no soil. But they actually looked pretty good. Maybe it's because it's been so cold that they weren't super established yet. So I've got these guys in here. I don't know how many will still be here in the next couple days because they'll probably, a bunch of them will get eaten, but I will just continue to pop them in. That's another reason why I like to grow so many, because wildlife really digs sunflowers and seeds. So some of these might get dug up as well. That's okay. So I still feel okay. So I'm gonna spend some time weeding, and in about 5 minutes or so, we're supposed to experience the height of the eclipse. We're in California, so we're not in the direct path, even close. In 2017, we were right in the direct path, and it was so densely cloudy you couldn't even see anything. It was a real bummer. All right, I'm gonna go weed. Well, I got half of one 40-foot long bed weeded, and that's good. I'm really hungry and starting to get low on energy, so that means it's time to give my body a break and head home. Well, I have some errands to run first, but so that's going to be it for me today. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks for your patience while I was out sick, and I hope you have a wonderful time in your gardens, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.